And welcome back to Wednesdays Who Would Win. So, we're doing another Sternritter. Again, I've explained this before, but real quickly, in the manga Bleach, there are characters called the Sternritters. All of them have abilities to use spiritual weapons, things along those like bow and arrows, super speed, things along those lines. There are a certain group that correspond to letters of the alphabet with powers correspondent to those letters of the alphabet. We are on the letter U, which is NaNaNa. I can't remember his last name, but NaNaNa is his actual name. A very wacky looking guy whose letter is U, which stands for the Underbelly. What his ability is, and he has standard abilities creating reishi arrows, things along those lines, which is spiritual energy. Is that he can basically discern an opponent's weakness, or observe them long enough, or the longer he observes them, he can pretty much shut someone down, almost like a morphine of like effect. Basically, just kind of knock them out and keep them incapacitated. The longer you observe someone, the better chance, the bit stronger this ability is going to be. So That's what his general stick is. So when I had to pick an opponent who I felt could also pinpoint weaknesses out. That's what I felt was the thing I needed to do. And with that, I remembered an inhuman by the name of Karnak. Now, Karnak possesses an inhuman metabolism. Being an inhuman, he is essentially physically he's slightly superior to Captain America, but just not by much. He can bench like about a ton. He has automatic function control and physically conditioned his body and mind to peak levels. He can voluntarily control most of his body automatic functions, including breathing, heartbeat, bleeding, reaction to pain, radiant healing, etc. He also has enhanced endurance, including heavy calluses on his hand, where he can shatter wood, cinder blocks, even some mild steel. He is a master martial artist, highly skilled, capable of taking on multiple opponents in martial arts skills, sometimes with a single strike defeating monsters with nothing but his martial ability. He has beaten the likes of Black Widow, Iron Man, Human Torch, Phantom X, and even briefly fought Daredevil and Mantis before being defeated. He's easily the best martial artist in basically uh, Atalan, basically the Inhuman world, and is one of the world's finest hand-to-hand combatants. His inhuman speed, combined with the fighting ability and his ability to locate weak spots, makes him a dangerous martial artist. Now, his stress point detection is something that is very important because that's why I put him against NaNaNa. It's like you sound like you're teasing somebody. Basically, through mental discipline, he's gained the extrasensor ability to perceive stress points, fracture planes, or weaknesses, physical or psychological, in all objects or persons around him. By striking and apply pressure to these points, he can split or shatter objects made of seemingly invincible substances or render insensate beings of far greater strength than he is. He can do this for extended period of times, and by his very end, before I guess the character was killed, he actually was able to kind of see fragments of the future by bending the definition of his powers. So he is a highly skilled, highly proficient individual. So in this fight, again, let's say that the Sternritters are trying to take over the Marvel Universe. And in this case, NaNaNa comes in contact with Karnak. And I'm going to be this is going to be probably one of the briefest fights I ever do. So the fight's going to break down. Maybe NaNaNa throws an arrow. Karnak gets out of the way, goes into the fight, and NaNaNa kind of gets out of the way. They're observing each other. And he's like now he immediately tries to basically shut down Karnak. But he hasn't really been observing him long enough to really do much. Plus, with automatic control over his body, pretty much, with automatic function control, he can ignore a decent amount of the wooziness or whatever the ability that NaNaNa would inflict on him would be. You chain me up? Yes, you do. Just scratching Domino's chin. So that would give Karnak more than enough time, because he's far faster than a normal person, to get in and just hit the pressure points and everything like that, and pretty much just take NaNaNa down. Now, if NaNaNa keeps distance long enough, I think there's a way that he could probably put him down, hit him with an arrow or something like that. I just think the likelihood is Karnak takes the fight. I think Karnak takes the fight pretty handily, about 9 to 10. Told you this was going to be a shorter one. I'm also, it's late and I'm behind, so I'm just cramming these ones out quick. Luckily, the 3 I had lined up for the day were not going to be long ones. So Yeah, Karnak, I think, wins this 9 out of 10 simply because Karnak just automatically can perceive weak points, whereas NaNaNa needs to study his opponent for a certain amount of time, and the longer he studies them, the better chance that his abilities are going to work. If he only has a limited time, it's not going to work very well. Now, in a scenario where he's been observing Karnak for a little while now, that might be different. If he can do that and it seriously affects Karnak, then I can see NaNaNa taking a heavy win, but I think the majority is going to go to Karnak in this case. 9 to 10, though, because there's a scenario where NaNaNa wins, even with Karnak pressing the advantage. But hey, let me know if you think different. If you do, that's cool. Put in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This week, by the way, it's going to be 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. I've heard that movie's extremely good. And I'll be back with one more